Honourable members, Madam Speaker.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in wisdom and prudential goodness have appointed us of leaders and parliaments for the rest of society and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor these your servants, whom have been pleased to call the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessings set upon the assembled, and grant that the may as in your presence, to it and cause no matter that shall come at the deliberation, is so just and friendly manner to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed their charge.
Item 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, I want to welcome you for this afternoon sitting. During today's sitting, we will receive the tax and revenue bills, and then the annual budget estimates for financial year 2026-2027, together with the various attendant documents as stipulated in section 12, subsection 9 and 10 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015. This stage of the budget is one of the most important stage in the legislation and appropriation function, which provides for us ways of how we are going to finance the budget. And I want to urge all the committees to ensure that they do their work exhaustively and report back to the House by 21st on the tax bills. However, on 15th of this month, we will be looking at the ministerial statements. We will debate the ministerial statements by 15th. I also want to inform members that we should be able to pass the budget by 28th of this month. We should be able to appropriate by 28th of this month. Honourable members, you will allow me to invoke Rule 26(1) to vary the order paper to accommodate the ministerial statement. A response from the Honourable Minister, Honourable Bahati, on the illicit alcohol use and mineral drinks, energy drinks, that the House asked him to respond to, and then the concerns that were raised by the sugarcane growers. We will get a report from that on the issue of way bridges. Additionally, I will also further vary the order paper to accommodate the following items. A request by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to reallocate budget estimates for financial year 2025-2026 and revision of work plans for the National Forestry Authority and the Minister of Water and Environment. This was affected by rationalization. And then tabling of the 53rd and 54th biannual performance report of the Inspectorate of Government pursuant to Article 231(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Honourable members, yesterday we laid to rest the father of the late former Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Jacob. I want to thank all those who managed to make it tomorrow and who contributed both morally, financially, and spiritually. Thank you so, so much. I wish you a nice deliberation. Yes, Honorable Semujo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I moved the motion under Rule 66. I moved the motion under Rule 66, which was a motion of adjournment to discuss the ongoing violent demolition of people's structures and kiosks, which this week is in Chira. And Madam Speaker, you did direct that matter be discussed at the next sitting, which is today's sitting, but you also did direct government to present a response, a report on this subject matter. Since, Madam Speaker, the matter is not on the order paper as you are directed, I am seeking for your guidance as to how it will be handled, because you are directed that it be put on the order paper and it's not there.
Thank you. The government chief whip communicated to the Minister of Kampala. I did follow it myself, and the minister is currently unavailable. But once we get the report, we will put it on the order paper. And why you see us varying the order paper is because this one has just come. So even if it came now, we shall vary the order paper and have it discussed. We are pushing for it. Yes, Buhesh.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I raise on a matter of national economic importance.
I thought we were still on communication from the chair.
Much obliged.
Yes, Ethel.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I also joined you and other colleagues to welcome back upon yesterday's burial, and we thank you for representing us. Right Honourable, some time back we inquired and we needed to know about the policy of people, the different people who should be brought, especially those who should come to Parliament when they have died, everyone who should be catered for, and to what extent. We pray that one of these days you consider and let the executive be in position to give us more information on that. Thank you.
Government.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I wish to respond that there is already a bill before Cabinet sponsored by the Ministry of Public Service on the matter raised by the Honourable Member for Wakiso. Once we get done with it in Cabinet, it will definitely come on the floor of Parliament, covering the subject matter you have raised. So it is work in progress. In the meantime, we can use the precedent we have set in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, yes, Honourable Patrick.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to allow me to raise a matter of national importance regarding the funds that were allocated to the districts which you, in your capacity as the Speaker, you championed that our districts receive the 1 billion as a road grant. But right now, Speaker, since we got that money, since that money, Parliament appropriated that money, there's been a lot of work by Minister of Works to frustrate the process. Right Honourable Speaker, you remember we were here, we raised the matter when the Ministry of Works had given guidelines that money was for road rehabilitation, and the 1 billion could only cater for about 6 roads at the time. We rescinded that decision, and we required Ministry of Works to ensure that we work with new guidelines that promoted road maintenance. Right Honourable Speaker, in my district where I come from, before that 1 billion shilling was given to us as a district, we were relying on the road fund, and we were only doing about 220 kilometers. And what we could achieve with that money was about 480 millions. With coming of the 1 billion grant, we raised the kilometers from about 220 to about 480 kilometers, right, Honourable Speaker. Honourable members and colleagues, there are new guidelines. These guidelines signed by Minister of Works that prescribes how much money must be allocated per kilometer. Right Honourable Speaker, in our districts, we have roads committees, and these roads committees would sit down and prioritize what is most effective in their work plan. Unfortunately, there is a letter from the PS that says that please follow the guideline, and the guideline is saying you have to implement a kilometer between 8 millions to 20 millions. Now, Madam Speaker, that kills our purpose, because our original purpose, we wanted all roads to be motorable where we come from. At least it would save us that more kilometers are done and they are motorable, our people are able. Now, Minister of Works is advising our engineers that please do the road with the best, with about 8 to 20 millions. It is very good, Right Honourable Speaker, if we had enough funds. But with the little money, with the 1 billion now, Kasanda, we reduced from 480, which the money we've been using, to about 480 kilometers. They reduced it now to 120 kilometers only, implying that in a period of 5 years, only one road, because we have about 500 kilometers, it implies that only one road can be done in a particular constituency. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, my prayer is, let the Ministry of Works leave the powers, because the law empowers the roads committees in the respective districts to prioritize this money. Let the power to prioritize how much money is given for which road be left to the people at the grassroots. Because, Right Honourable Speaker, there are chokes where a committee can sit and choose to say, we are prioritizing this financial year. Let the ministry do not prescribe how much money will be utilized. Because for us in Kasanda, our priority was to make sure that all roads are motorable, and we had benefited a lot. Right Honourable Speaker, now they have reduced it to 120. Many people are crying. There is no, and I'm sure if this is happening in Kasanda, it could be happening in other districts. My prayer, second prayer, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, if there is a need to do these roads with more, we need to come here and, Madam Speaker, we add more money to the grant so that it can be 2 billion or more, and more roads can be done, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, first and foremost, on your second prayer, we are not adding money before we see value for the first money. Before we see the value for the first money, that issue of, and I'm happy Honourable Bua is here, Government Chief Whip, is the one we emphasized on road maintenance. there were regulations, guidelines that were brought by Minister of Works, and then local government also brought the guidelines. And I wonder, in some districts, the roads are okay. How can you say a kilometer should be between 8 to 20 million? Why do you predetermine the cost? Is the road the same throughout, assuming it is in a swampy area? Government.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to agree entirely with the member from Kasanda District. By the time government increased this grant to 1 billion, for district, cities and municipalities that are making good utilization of the money, you can see great improvement in the road network in terms of motorability. Right Honourable Speaker, I would plead with you that the Ministry of Works and Transport be given an opportunity to come and interface with Parliament on the justification of why they have issued new circulars without even informing Parliament. That really debated this matter in a very protracted manner, guided the process. We came up with the guidelines, and the guidelines we agreed on the floor of Parliament were communicated that time. And the District Roads Committee of the respective districts where we sit had the powers to now agree on how much can be covered in a kilometer. So, Madam Speaker, this money must really be put to good use. Let the Ministry of Works and Transport be given time. This is my prayer also, in addition to his prayer, to come and explain to Parliament. But we want to know the justification or the rationale of 8 million and 20 million. In Aleptong, we were doing a kilometer for motorability at 3.5 million. 3.5, and we were able to cover about 210 kilometers in one financial year. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm also reading from the Book of Lamentations, but let the ministry responsible for the 1 billion come and explain to us why they changed the guideline without informing the House.
So, can we first suspend the new guidelines and go by the old guidelines as they come?
Right Honourable Speaker, on the suspension of the new guidelines, I undertake to write with immediate effect to the Minister of Works, Transport, to ensure that they halt the implementation of the letter quoted by the Honourable Member.
Those in favor of suspension of the new guidelines say aye, to contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honourable members, you are all coming from constituencies. These people, the voters, they expect you to speak for them. And when the roads are bad, they say this member of parliament is not working. And when you don't bring it out in the House, and like what Honorable Oshabi has brought, originally we agreed as a House that we should have guidelines that help a bigger mileage to be worked on. But how can you predetermine how much a mileage should be? That is just cham. Huh? Yes, Honorable Lobo. When I pick you, then that means you brought your matter to me before.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance, and this is on the issue that happened on 29th of March in Lida at UTC, that's Lango, UTC grounds, where Teso province and Lango province were playing under the FUFA Drum League, and the unfortunate calamity befell our supporters, where several were injured because many supporters were on top of the roofs and the trees to watch the game. And unfortunately, a building at UTC fell down and injured several of them. Notably, 3 were critically injured, and they all come from Teso. and that is Elotu John, Emitu Michael, and Ayaka Elijah, who were critically injured. And Elotu John sustained several injuries on the brain, and the skull was fractured. But this surgery was made possible yesterday at 4 p.m. at Lacho Hospital. I want to make some prayers, Madam Speaker. I want to request that the FUFA team takes some responsibilities to provide adequate support to the injured supporters from Teso and Lango sub-region. I also pray that the Ministry of Education and Sports, together with the central government, urgently needs to remove all asbestos from all public institutions in the country. The negligence in allowing asbestos to remain in public institutions, especially that particular one, is the reason the football supporters from Teso and Lango got such incidences. The Ministry of Health urgently also needs to address the staffing gaps affecting critical personnel, especially those managing the ICU units. We faced a problem at the Lira Regional Hospital where there was no critical staff at the ICU that was supposed to manage Elotu immediately because she was on maternity leave. So the surgery did not take place until the director had to make arrangements to refer the patient to Lachor Hospital, where the surgery took place yesterday. I deeply appreciate the Lira Regional Referral Hospital team, led by Dr. Dur, the director, for their commendable efforts in securing the ICU bed and necessary facilities at Lachor Hospital and ensuring the safe transfer of our patients.
Thank you.
It's also worth noting that, Madam Speaker, the Lira Regional Referral Hospital would have managed this operation, but it's because of the lack of enough staff from the hospital that led to the delay, which could even lead to the life of this young man. I beg to pray. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Your other additional prayer would be to urge the supporters next time that buildings are not stadia for you to go and sit up there. Because you're watching football, how do you climb on top of the roof to go and sit there? For heaven's sake, let's be responsible ourselves. Our sympathies go to the person who got an accident, but let's also be responsible. Honorable Bua, government.
Madam Speaker, this was an a take-care competition, much as it is under FUFA, Lango and Teso. And you know that North and Northeastern is where great footballers of the country normally come from. So there is normally a lot of excitement. But I want to agree with you, Madam Speaker, we need to start speaking to our fans. I normally see a lot of excitement. I saw when Lango went to Teso, when Teso was now coming, they wanted a big bang.
I actually saw Honorable Alobo on a motorbike. You go ahead.
Madam Speaker, we need to talk to our fans to normally act in a reasonable manner. Because the moment you climb on top of a building to watch a game, the disaster that may occur to you, you may not anticipate. I sympathize with those who got injured. Madam Speaker, our first prayer is to the Federation of Uganda Football Association. Good enough, the President is a member of Parliament. I undertake to move out with Honorable Alobo and speak to the President of Federation of Uganda Football Association on your prayer number 1 of taking care of the injured by the Federation. On prayer number 2, removal of asbestos, on the side of government, it is also work in progress. Most of the schools where we went to had asbestos. Some of you who have gone back to your former schools, you can see that in a phased manner, government is getting rid of asbestos as part of our roof. So it is work in progress. That particular building even is not being used by students at Uganda Technical College. But because it is near the football pitch, many of our fans, even those who travel from Teso, you can imagine, had to climb on top in order to watch that game. So it is work in progress. We shall conclude that as government in a phased manner. May I now request you, Honorable Member, I move out and we talk to President of FUFA. Or the chair can also help. Thank you.
And advise them that next time when the Akibwa Stadium is over, they will not use the building to watch football. Here's the procedure.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter I want to raise, it's highly tethered to this House, and that's why I seek your indulgence that we get some procedural guidance from your chair, but also from government. Uganda, alongside Kenya, is preparing to co-host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON. And preparations have been in high gear for quite a bit of time. Parliament, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, Parliament has been appropriating money. This financial year, the next financial year, we have seen proposals. Why? Because this event presents significant opportunities for regional integration, tourism growth, and economic boost, infrastructure development, etc., etc. That's why Parliament has been appropriating money. As we speak, Right Honourable Speaker, there's been a lot of talk in the public domain. I'm sure you have encountered that, especially after the CAF report. We have not met the CAF requirements, including the Category 4 requirements that are very pivotal after inspection. Hoima City Stadium, government expenditure is so far estimated at nearly 500 billion shillings so far. That government has nearly 500 billion shillings that government has injected in this project. This stadium was completed and officially commissioned in December of 2025. But despite this commissioning of the project, technical assessments reveal the stadium does not yet meet CAF operational standards. And yet government completed and commissioned the stadium. Nambole Stadium, to which government has committed approximately 346 billion shillings to its renovation. Again, this stadium continues to exhibit major compliance gaps relative to CAF Category 4 standards. Akibwa Stadium, which you have just talked about, Right Honourable Speaker, the estimated project cost is 470 billion shillings. But we understand construction progress is currently at about 30%. And yet it is one of those being looked at for AFCON, which is next year, around the corner. Training facilities at Makerere University, Chambogo University, Wankulukuku Stadium, they remain below the required standards for operational competition, international competitions. CAF is concerned about unrealistic construction timelines, slow pace of developing these facilities, roads, hotels, 5-star hotels that are non-existent. The tournament is next year. Honourable Speaker, when you compare Uganda to Kenya and TZ, the difference with us is that Uganda is heavily relying on new construction projects. Kenya and Tanzania are mostly focused on upgrading existing facilities. They are also behind schedule on a couple of things. But delays elsewhere should not justify delays here. And so I ask, are we going to be ready for AFCON 2027? We have injected heavily. We are still investing heavily. Many people are looking forward to it. But then there are these operational concerns. Are we going to be ready? Because it's just next year. But also, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm concerned about the template, if any, that government used. Because you completed Hoima City Stadium last year, commissioned it, and now they are telling us it is falling far below the standards. So what template was being used? Because I thought we should be aiming first and then shooting. We seem to be shooting first and then aiming later. There should have been a template that we were following from CAF, all these standards, and then we follow. But now we finish construction and they are telling us you've got to demolish much of what has been constructed. Honourable Speaker, I think it's important that this Parliament gets an update because the money is appropriated here. But also that the public gets to know their taxpayer money that has been injected, these billions of shillings, that it is not being put to waste. But also because the game of football, it is loved by many Ugandans. So they are very concerned whether or not we shall not hear a communication. You people are not ready, so we are moving it elsewhere after causing so much excitement. I seek your indulgence that you procedurally guide on this issue because we have discussed it here, money has been passed here, and we are in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord. I'm happy the Prime Minister is in the house.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I want to thank my brother for raising such a pertinent issue. The fact is, we are going to be more than ready because, yes, because those remaining gaps will be bridged within this period. Between now and when AFCON will take place next year, we are ready and we are moving on very well.
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, the Right Honourable Prime Minister is trying to comfort us by giving a generic response and saying, we shall be ready. That's too generic. What you are saying is not in concomitant with the CAF report. It is raising several critical concerns. So it would be good that we get a proper update. When you say we shall be ready.
Where is the CAF report?
Akibua, she has a copy of it. The Prime Minister, I'm sure as Prime Minister, you have looked at that report. I would be very disappointed if the whole Prime Minister has not read the report, but I'm sure she has read that report. Akibua, for example, we are told 30%, and yet we are counting on it, we are banking on it as well as one of the AFCON facilities. So I don't think it's enough to tell us that we are going to be ready. We're just a few months away. We need a proper update on Mandela National Stadium, Hoima City Stadium that was completed and commissioned last year, but they're telling us, no, it is falling below standard. Honourable Speaker, I am not satisfied with the response of the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Honourable members, wouldn't it be right for us to discuss this when we have a report? Because now we are debating in anticipation. We are speculating actually, because we don't have a report. Maybe you have looked at the report?
Right Honourable Speaker and members, Cabinet discussed the report and we have put in place all the necessary requirements to have Uganda host CAF next year. And maybe what we can do, Right Honourable Speaker,
we finished with the CAF.
Yes, I am saying let us have a detailed report to allay the fears of my brother.
Okay. Honourable members, our next sitting will be on 15th. Will be on 15th, so we should have that report on the floor on 15th. Yes. Mehdi?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. and honorable colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, two things. One is that the Constitutional Court recently made a ruling about the Computer Misuse Act, and its ruling was that we didn't have adequate quorum. Linus, adequate quorum for the bill to be sustained to be constitutional. So I would like to hear a response from the Attorney General as regards. Yeah, I know it's a judgment, so I would like to hear from the Attorney General as regards the steps he will take towards the bill and respond to the decision of the Court of Appeal. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, in the same line with technology, on December the 10th, 2025, the Uganda government entered into an MOU with the United States government under the America First strategy, with a brand policy of having us get a share of part of American funds, but in return to also share the medical data of all Ugandans, including mine, yours, and any other Ugandan, with the Americans. As we are pushing forward to have sovereignty and talking about the sovereignty bill.
What is sovereignty?
Sovereignty is that all power belongs to the people of Uganda, and they shall exercise it in accordance with the Constitution. And that
Honorable Medi.
Right,
Honorable Medi.
Yes, please.
Medi, we don't know about sovereignty bill. It has not yet come.
Okay, let me go to the principle.
Let's first have the first thing answered
right
of our bill.
True, Right Honorable Speaker, but this is also a concern because governments elsewhere, in return, because this has been signed, it's there, and the Attorney General will inform the nation. And other similar nations in Africa have also asked the Americans whether it's possible for them to access medical data of Americans. And the Americans said, no, you cannot access the medical data of our citizens. But with this aid, if you want it, we can access medical data of your citizens. And this is coming up with mixed reactions from all citizens of the world and citizens of Uganda, because sharing my data without my authorization, even if your government is in breach of the Data Protection Act, and it's a mere turn back to the sovereignty we were talking about, I think Ugandans, through their legislators, need to understand clearly the terms of the MOU and the terms of funding, and how your data, your medical data, my data, and everyone's medical data shall be used by the American government in order to profit from it.
Thank you. AG.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Yes, indeed, the Constitutional Court did strike down sections 11, 23, 26, 28, and 29 of the Computer Misuse Act. The rest for lack of quorum. The rest of the Computer Misuse Act, Cap 96, is still good law and is enforceable. Of course, the purpose of the amendment that was made was to clarify and strengthen certain provisions of the law. In fact, in some instances, the provisions of the law existed, but they had just weaker penalties. And I think that is being done. We have advised our prosecutorial agencies to cease using those provisions of the law, but continue to use the rest of the law as it is. And I think there is sufficient grounds and sufficient law to regulate the use of such material. So, Right Honorable Speaker, government is processing the amendment, the Computer Misuse Act, in the Ministry of ICT, and we are going to bring it back to the House for proper enactment. So that is work ongoing. But maybe just to say that I can only call upon the public and the general public not to misuse these facilities, because there is sufficient law even now it may not be as punitive as what we had in the Computer Misuse Act, but there is punishment for those that will be committed. So, Right Honourable Speaker, we are processing that and we shall bring it back to the House for enactment at the appropriate time. On the issue of medical data and the MOU that they talk about, yes, government of Uganda entered into an agreement with the government of the USA on the sharing of data, both ways and material, and that agreement is available. I'm sure the necessary committee can request the Ministry of Health to make it available to them to look at. What I can assure members here, that no one's data can be used or shared which is not in consonance with the laws of Uganda. So indeed, the Data Protection Act is still in place, and in fact, when the committee looks at that contract, because I also see people debating these things without actually getting an opportunity to read them, so I encourage the committee to look at them. We did make it very clear that if you want to use the data of Ugandans, it must be used in accordance with the law. But the committee can look at it. But yes, there is a contract, and I cleared it. I looked at it myself, and I'm absolutely certain that it's in accordance with the laws of Uganda. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members in the public gallery this afternoon, we have students and teachers from Namungona Parent Secondary School. They are represented by Honorable Kawalia Abubeka and Honorable Shamim of Rubaga North Constituency, Kampala. They are here to witness the proceedings. Also in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a group of leaders from Uganda Sugarcane Growers Alliance. Where are you? Please join me in welcoming them. They are here to witness the proceedings. They are 36 in number. Buhesh.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I raise in a matter of national importance and concerns about the plight of smallholder tea farmers in the Greater Bushenyi. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, Igara Growers Tea Factory was opened in 1969. Then Buhesh Tea Factory was also opened in 2010. Both tea factories are owned by smallholder tea farmers from the districts of Buheju, Shema, Metoma, Ribirizi, and Bushenyi. The farmers hold about 1 million shares, worth about 5 billion Uganda shillings, as bona fide shareholders, Right Honourable Speaker. Both factories employ more than 1,300 staff, both skilled and semi-skilled, and thousands of others on farmers' estates who are paid on a monthly and contract basis. Right Honourable Speaker, they have been commanding a turnover of about 60 billion shillings per annum. Right Honourable Speaker, in recent years, we have been, and I personally in particular, been informing this August House about the huge challenges in the tea industry in Uganda. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, Igara and Buhesh Tea Factories ceased operations in early March this year. This spells economic doom for the stakeholders mentioned above and the country economically. My prayers, Right Honourable Speaker. I ask the government to urgently intervene and rescue the tea farmers. Number 2, government should expedite the much craved for tea policy so that it can ameliorate some of the challenges causing hardships in the sector. And lastly, my prayer, Right Honourable Speaker, thorough investigations about mismanagement aspects should be carried out about the causes that escalated the closure of our tea factories to our detriment. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I beg to move.
Thank you. I am happy you have it in writing. Why don't you pass it on to the Prime Minister since it is written, so that the Prime Minister will be able to effectively respond to it, because you've written it. Prime Minister, do you have?
Right Honourable Speaker, I take the opportunity as requested and accepted to read this copy of my petition and concerns on the table for the benefit of government to follow up.
Please
Thank you
hand
very
over
much.
to the Prime Minister. And let it be on record that it is not a petition. Yes, it is not a petition. A matter of national importance, which is written to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister is going to respond. Honorable Goli.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. I rise on a matter of national importance, mainly because when Lake Victoria, we had double openings. It has led to flooding to Lake Yoga and on its way to Egypt. But more importantly, it has caused water to move in a different direction. The water used to come into Lake Yoga from north, coming inside Lake Yoga. But because of this flooding, we have a bridge called Olwen. This bridge is threatened and it could easily overflood, and we may have problems like we have had on River Katonga. So I request government to look at that issue of that bridge. It is being threatened to be overflooded, and it may cause us challenges. The second one, Right Honorable Speaker, here in October we passed a supplementary budget, and the supplementary budget included provision of 7 million hose. The season we need those hose started long time. Could government really advise us what is happening on those hose we passed? Thank you.
Thank you. PM.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the Ministry of Works will go to the river and find out what we can do now that the flooding continues, and then we shall report accordingly. Then for the hose, I request that you allow me time to consult. I'll come back and report.
Next item. You know what?
Ministerial statement on concerns by sugarcane growers.
I'll give you.
Ministerial statement on concerns by sugarcane growers regarding the ministerial directive for the removal of all sugarcane weighbridges along roads in favor of only weighbridges at sugarcane factory premises.
Honorable members, you recall during the parliamentary sitting held on 26th March 2026, the issue of the sugarcane weighbridges was raised, and we directed the relevant ministry to consult with the stakeholders on this matter, and the minister is ready to report.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, as you recall, during the parliamentary sitting held on 26 March 2026, the issue of sugarcane weighbridges was raised, and you directed that we consult further with sugarcane stakeholders, farmers and millers to resolve the pending issues related to weighbridges. Right Honorable Speaker, before I present the report, allow me to brief the House on the current status of the sugar industry, a contribution of the sugar industry in Uganda. The sugar industry is one of the Uganda's key agro-industrial sectors today, contributing significantly to GDP, employment, and exports. Size and output. Uganda currently produces about 700,000 metric tons of sugar per year, with roughly 450 tons consumed domestically and 250 tons exported, making Uganda a net exporter of sugar in the East African community. 14 sugar factories are operational, crushing around 8 million tons of sugarcane annually, most of it sourced from outgrowers. The sugar industry contributes 5% of Uganda's GDP and 500 billion to our tax revenue on an annual basis. Employment and livelihood. The sugar industry directly employs 50,000 people in factories alone and provides indirect livelihood to several hundred and thousands more, including outgrowers, transporters, traders, and service providers. Categories of sugar farmers in Uganda's sugar industry. In Uganda's sugar sector, farmers supplying sugarcane to millers are broadly categorized as follows. 1. Aided or contracted outgrowers. These farmers enter into formal or informal agreements with sugar millers under which they receive inputs such as seed cane, fertilizer, and sometimes credit or technical advice. In return, they are expected to supply cane to the contracting millers. Unaided or independent outgrowers. These farmers grow sugarcane with their own resources and are not bound by strong input support contracts. They can choose which mill to supply based on the prevailing price, transport conditions, giving them greater market flexibility, but often less access to credit and technical support. Nucleus estate. These are sugarcane farm plantations owned by millers. Right Honourable Speaker, owned by millers as required by the Sugar Act. Right Honourable Speaker, let me now turn to the main subject, which is the web bridges. In consultations on web bridges, in Uganda's sugar sector, web bridges are critical for determining sugarcane volumes, settling payments, and preventing theft, but they remain few in number and unevenly distributed. Most are located in cane-growing districts such as Masindi and Hoima, and fall in two main categories. Sugar company-owned facilities at mills, they have web bridges at their factories, or approved allocation points and cooperatives-owned stations operated by farmers' unions. Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry invited stakeholders as directed in the sugar industry and held a meeting on Tuesday, on 31st March 2026 at Imperial Isle. And this meeting was open to the media. The meeting was chaired by me and attended by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, sugar farmers cooperative societies from Busoga, from Bunyoro, Toro, and Buganda. Millers from Buganda, Busoga, Toro, and Bunyoro. District local governments, we invited agriculture officers, district commercial officers, Uganda Revenue Authority, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Uganda Police Force, and the RDCs, and, which fall under the Office of the President, and the media, as I indicated. And the following were the findings from the consultative meeting we held. We discovered that Section 26 of the Sugar Act 2026 provides for the weighing of sugarcane, ensuring accuracy in measurement, transparency in participation, and regulatory oversight. So there is a regulation that provides for this establishment. The meeting also noted a gap in the regulations regarding the weighbridge operations. And two points to note here, which are not here. The weighbridges are also used to measure some other items, not necessarily sugarcane alone. For example, the seed cane. Some use them to measure maize. Some use to measure them fertilizers and timber in addition to the sugarcane. And this is to avoid cheating by transporters or a case where there can be offloading after the while transporting. The meeting further observed that the weighbridges are critical instruments of measurements as they enable farmers to ascertain the weight of their sugarcane prior to sale, thereby promoting fairness and transparency. The meeting noted that most of the weighbridges are owned by millers. They establish or install weighbridges to weigh sugarcane from their sugarcane plantations, established far away from their mills, and also to buy cane from farmers after ascertaining the accurate weight to facilitate the business transactions. Meaning that when we license these people and compare them to have a nucleus plantation of 12,000 acres, not all acres are in one place. In some cases, the acres are far away, and therefore what the sugar millers do, they put weighbridges at those farms where they plant. It was noted that weighbridges were not regularly calibrated, and they cause cheating to the farmers. Some of them are not regularly calibrated. The meeting was informed that these weighbridges provide employment and business opportunities for the local people around where they are established. The meeting also noted there has been several engagements. We have had engagements regarding the issues of weighbridges, and it was even the meeting reported that the consultation has gone to the level of His Excellency the President, who had guided that weighbridges should continue operating as instruments of sugarcane. And we concluded the meeting and by consensus agreed on the following. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards should ensure that the weighbridges operating within sugarcane growing areas are regularly calibrated and inspected. The meeting should strengthen the current Sugar Regulation Act 2025 to streamline the licensing process of weighbridges. Any gaps within the regulations, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative, we should look at it and strengthen it. It was agreed that since weighbridges are measuring instruments used in the industry to ascertain actual weight of cane to be sold to the millers, that only existing weighbridges should be allowed to continue operating. Honorable colleagues, to fast-track the implementation of the above recommendations, the Ministry has written, this morning we have written to the Attorney General, she might have not received it yet, to help us look at drafting the necessary instrument to effect number 2, resolution number 2, which is to strengthen the regulations. Madam Speaker, this is what we came up with the consultation that we had yesterday about the sugar millers by consensus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
So I beg to lay the list of the people who attended the meeting.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of Government Business, do you have anything to say? Honorable Minister. Just a minute.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the issue of way bridges along the roads started in 2023. We have made a lot of consultations. The fact is, some way bridges have been a problem, but others have not. They have been aiding sugarcane growers to know the exact weight they have before they sell their sugarcane to the factories. However, there are those that have been a problem and have been reported constantly to police. And so, as a lead of government business, I have been engaged backward and forwards to have this solved. Now that Parliament has come in, I wanted to request that since the Attorney General is going to come up with regulations, we consult further. We consult further to have this settled once and for all.
And I think what the minister said, that most of these way bridges have not been regulated. Now what we need is proper regulation of these way bridges. Because if we have known the benefit of the way bridges, then we should have them regulated. Then where you're talking about the resolutions, Uganda National Bureau of Standards should ensure you as a minister has powers under Article 113 to direct UNBS.
Thank you for that correction. In fact, we have directed them to do regular calibration and inspection of these way bridges and report to the minister on a monthly basis.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. And thank you, Honourable Minister, for the statement, which is self-explanatory. I just wanted to know whether there are measures that you reached in your resolutions which are taking immediate effect as we are waiting for the minister to come out with the regulations. Because the production of sugarcane and the sale of sugarcane is continuing and the cheating is continuing as people continue to transact their business. It has been a public outcry and for very long, which needs start measures from government. So what did you prepare for the immediate effect to be done even before the National Bureau of Standards come in, as we prepare the rest to come in?
Immediate, medium, and long term. Are the resolutions that you've made immediate? Take immediate effect? Yes, Jonah?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I was here when the Honourable Member raised that matter. This statement by the Minister seemed not to have answered the concerns of the Honourable Member. At that time, the farmers were concerned that the way bridges which were at their farms have been removed and taken to the factories. For them, the farmers, they had trust that if the sugarcane was weighed on the farms, they are able to verify. But now the millers and the buyers have taken the weigh bridges up to their factories, so you load your truck and then the sugarcane is sent, and inside the farmers do not have access to verify how much has been weighed. So they were requesting that the practice of weighing at the farm, at their farms, at the plantations, should be upheld as opposed to loading from wherever the farmers have grown and taking to. That was the concern that was raised, and I have not seen it come.
The good thing, the mover of the question was also part of the meeting. So his issues were resolved there. Yes, yes, Pius?
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
I also have something related to sugarcane growing. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm a farmer. I grow sugarcane in Masindi. I want just to remind the government, the president last year pledged to support sugarcane farmers in form of a grant of 45 billion. But up to now, there's nothing which has been fulfilled. So I'm just reminding the lead of business, government business, please, the farmers are still waiting. Because sugarcane, as the minister has said, is contributing almost 5% of GDP. So the farmers are playing a big role. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Do your resolutions take effect from when they are passed?
To answer the pledge, I think that we shall follow up the pledge of the president, the 5 billion. To the issue of the request by the farmers, that was particular to the web bridge in Masindi, and there were 2 that had been removed. And in the meeting, through consensus, we said that they should be instituted again so that the farmers do not suffer. And the effect, apart from, as the Prime Minister has said, apart from strengthening the regulations by the Attorney General, the others go on because the inspection, calibration takes immediate effect, and we are sending the team from the National Bureau of Standards after Easter to go and ensure that all the web bridges operating should be calibrated and inspected. And the existing one, the only existing ones, continue to operate as they help the farmers as we work on the those which are being the issue Prime Minister has been calibration and inspection. So we are sending a team of UNBS to calibrate all web bridges, and we shall have a report by end of next week because they are 44 in number.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you so much.
Thank you. Next item.
Bills first reading.
Honourable members, pursuant to Article 152(1) and 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and Section 7 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, and Rule 134(1) and 2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development must lay on table the tax bills with attendant documents and the budget by 1st of the month, 1st of April. And today is 1st of April. Honorable Bahati, I know you have another document, but I am only being mindful first of the statutory deadline. We can discuss other things after the statutory documents. I now want to invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table the tax bills, tax and revenue bills, and then after that I will refer them to the relevant committees. Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the bill entitled the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026 be read for the first time. I beg to move. And I want to move that the bill is accompanied by the certificate of financial implications. Don't remove the motion. But what? And we'll do them at once. Madam Speaker, with your guidance, I beg to move a motion that the following tax bills be read for the first time. Bill number 1 is the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 2 is the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 3 is the Tax Procedures Code Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 4 is the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026. 5 is the Rotaries and Gaming Amendment Bill 2026. 7 is the External Trade Amendment Bill 2026. 8 is the Stamp Duty Amendment Bill 2026. And lastly, 9 is the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2026. Madam Speaker, all the bills I have mentioned are accompanied by the certificates of financial implications. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Pursuant to Rule 135(1) of the Rules of Procedure, all the bills and all the tax and revenue bills that have been tabled by the Honorable Minister are referred to the Sector Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration and report back to the House on 21st April 2026.
The Appropriation Bill 2026.
Honorable members, pursuant to Article 156(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 12, subsection 11A of the Public Finance Management Act, and Rule 159 of the Rules of Procedure, I will invite the Honorable Minister to lay on table the Appropriation Bill 2026.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the Appropriations Bill 2026 be read for the first time. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
The Appropriation Bill 2026.
Honorable members, pursuant to Rule 135 of the Rules of Procedure, the bill stands referred to the Budget Committee for consideration and report back on 21st April 2026.
Laying of papers. The annual estimates for the financial year 2026-2027, pursuant to Article 155 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995 and Section 12, 39 and 10, 39, 10 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 155 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honorable members, pursuant to Article 155(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 12, 39 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 155 of the Rules of Procedure, I will invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table the annual budget estimates for financial year 2026-2027 with its attendant documents as stipulated in section 12, 10 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure, both recurrent and development, for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 1, Central Government Votes. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for both recurrent and development for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 2, Local Government Votes. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure, recurrent and development for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 3, State-owned enterprises and public corporations. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, pursuant to the laws you have just mentioned, the Attorney General says there is no harm if I repeat. So, Madam Speaker, for emphasis, pursuant to Article 155 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 12(3) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 171, and Rule 148 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the draft estimates are accompanied by the following documents. One is the appropriations bill, which I have just laid.
Thank you.
Number 2 is the draft budget for the self-accounting departments, commissions, and organizations set up under the Constitution, and the opinion of government on these budgets, which I wish to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for statutory vote 131, Office of the Auditor General for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker and colleagues, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for vote 104, Parliamentary Commission for the financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the budget estimates for the statutory vote 105, Uganda Law Reform Commission for the financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for the statutory vote 106, Uganda Human Rights Commission for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay. I beg to lay on table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for vote 108, National Planning Authority for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for statutory vote 103, Inspectorate of Government for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the budget estimates for statutory vote 101, Judiciary for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for vote 102, Electoral Commission for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the estimates are also accompanied by the statement of multi-year commitments of government for financial year 2026-2027 and the report of performance of projects for financial year 2025-2026, which I also wish to lay.
Please do.
I lay the report of multi-year commitment statement for financial year 2026-2027 and performance of multi-year commitments for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay. Right Honorable.
Please do.
Right Honorable Speaker, the estimates are also accompanied by a statement attesting to the reliability and completeness of the budget estimates of revenue and expenditure for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I also beg to lay the certificate of gender and equity compliance for the draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the certificate of compliance of the annual budget issued by the National Planning Authority. I beg to lay on
Please
table.
lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the certificate of climate change responsiveness of the National Budget Framework paper. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the certificate of financial implications for the draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the list of accounting officers for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Thank you. The list of accounting officers is referred to the Joint Committee of PAC, Central Government, and PAC, COSASE, for scrutiny and report to the House.
Madam Speaker, I now wish to lay the half-year semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay.
Please do.
And this is pages 1 to pages 2,279.
Please do.
I wish to lay the semi-annual performance budget report for financial year 2025-26 from pages 2,280 to pages 4,560. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I now lay the semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026 from pages 4,561 to pages 6,840. I beg to lay.
Please do.
This is the continuation of the semi-annual report budget performance for financial year 25-6, pages 6,841 to 9,122. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on the table the semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026, pages 9,121 to pages 11,400.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the semi-annual budget performance report, financial year 2025-2026, pages 11,401 to pages 13,687. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the draft estimates are also accompanied by a report on the medium-term debt management strategy, highlighting the following. A, plan for domestic financing of the annual budget. B, plan for external financing, borrowing and grants. C, government plan for debt and any other financial liabilities for financial year 2026-2027. And D, statement of risk associated with all the loans for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay the report. Right Honorable Speaker, it is titled Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy for financial year 2026-2027 to financial year 2029-2030. I beg to lay on table.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the draft estimates are also accompanied by the report on public debt, grants, guarantees, and other financial liabilities, highlighting both external debt and domestic debt. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the report on public debt, grants, guarantees, and other financial liabilities as at the end of December 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I have also accompanied the estimates with the Treasury Memoranda. This defines measures taken to implement the recommendations of Parliament in respect of the Auditor General's report for the preceding year, i.e. financial year 2024-2025. Right Honorable Speaker, this is the Treasury Memoranda on the report of the Committee of Public Accounts, Central Government, on the Auditor General report for financial year ended 30th June 2024. And it has central government votes and local government votes and the state-owned enterprises. I beg to lay right on. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table a report on the recoveries of money on the recommendations of the Auditor General. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the consolidated disposal plan for the year ended June. I beg to lay on the table the consolidated disposal plan by government for the year ended June 30th, 2025, and this covers central government, local government, and missions abroad. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the annual report on inflows, outflows, and assets of the Petroleum Fund for the period ended 30th June 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
For the tax bills I have already laid. I now lay the tax expenditure report for the period ended July 2024, for the period July 2025 to March 2026 for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I now beg to lay the macroeconomic developments and fiscal prospects for financial year 2025-2026 and financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, in the summary, I wish to beg your indulgence in 3 minutes. I summarize what I have laid. Madam Speaker, the budget that I have just laid has been prepared under the theme full monetization of the Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. Right Honorable Speaker, the projected total draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027 is 84 trillion 294 billion 163 million 572,986 shillings only. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the budget for financial year 2026-2027 has been prepared in line with the 4th National Development Plan, NDP4, the 10-fold growth strategy, and will be the first budget in the to implement the next NRM manifesto for the period 2026-2027 to 2030-2031. The budget has accordingly prioritized investment in agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based industrial development, and science, technology, and innovations, including ICT and creative arts industry, and the enablers. Madam Speaker, under the ATMs, we have categorized in summary the following. Under agro-industrialization, our focus is on agricultural research, inputs, irrigation, extension, value addition, post-harvest management, storage, and enforcing quality standards for market access. On tourism development, we are aiming at promoting Uganda through branding, infrastructure upgrades, sanitation facilities, hospitality standards, enforcement, and investment in specialized facilities, including health tourism. On mineral-based development, our priorities are quantification, strengthening the Uganda National Mining Company, transparent markets, and projects like East African crude oil pipeline. On science, technology, and innovations, we propose to increase financing to support commercialization of STI products like the Chira Motors, Day Biopharma, coffee, and banana, establishing a high-tech city, increasing research and development, affordable and reliable internet, digital government services, and e-commerce, promotion of business processing outsourcing, enforcing of Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act, protect intellectual property and artistic works. Right Honorable Speaker, the enablers of these ATMs include peace, security, and rule of law, transport infrastructure, including roads, rail, air and water transport, electricity, industrial park development, human capital development. Here we talk about education, health and water, irrigation, environment and wealth creation funds, that is PDM, UDB, UDC, and MYOGA. Right Honorable Speaker, the key expenditure drivers for financial year 2026-2027 annual budget include increased investment in key NDP4 flagship projects such as the Standard Gauge Railway, the Meter Gauge Railway, the Kampala-Jinja Express Highway, the construction and maintenance of critical roads, and electricity for industrial parks, among others. The budget has also provided resources to support readiness activities for AFCON 2027 and enhancement of salaries for primary school teachers and arts teachers in secondary schools, and business, technical, and vocational education and training BTVET institutions. Right Honorable Speaker, we have also proposed the tax policy measures amounting to 1,741 billion to finance the budget. Right Honorable Speaker, I will expound more on the specific critical interventions and investment areas in the budget speech for financial year 2026-2027 that will be read on Thursday, 11th June 2026. Madam Speaker, thank you for your patience. I beg to submit the budget for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Yes, before you comment, I am referring all the documents, all the bills with attendant documents to the Committee of Budget for consideration. Please comment.
Honourable Speaker, I thank the Minister for beating the deadline, because today is the deadline. You are always walking a very tight rope and keeping everybody on the edge with these deadlines. Here is a quick concern, Right Honourable Speaker. You see, the budget framework paper which we received here not very long ago indicated total expenditure estimates of 78.2 trillion with tax projections of 41.5 trillion. The Minister is now giving us new figures a short while down the road, total expenditure estimates being 84.2 trillion. The tax projections being 44.5 trillion. I I know that there can be alterations with budgeting and so on, but when we do this too much, we keep wondering what happened between a short while ago and now that you are moving up to 6 trillion shillings upwards. What happened? It, in my view, actually points to fiscal indiscipline. And that's why we need to plan properly and be sure of what it is that we're doing. Every year, and I am hoping, I don't know who will be, we'll get there. Every year we keep having supplementary. There's always, of course, a corrigenda even before we go very far. Then before you know it, supplementary. We need to plan properly so that we know how much do we need for the entire fiscal year. Where are we going to find this money? Whenever we keep moving these pieces, sometimes supplementary budgets are about salaries. The Public Finance Management Act provides that supplementary budgets are supposed to be for unforeseeables. Salaries should be foreseeable. Plan for these things. So I'm raising this comment because I'm seeing it now. The budget framework paper is talking about a different figure, 78.2 trillion. Now quickly you're telling us 84.2 trillion. I don't know what will happen along the way when you begin to come here for supplementaries, over foreseeables, over salaries. For me it is unacceptable that you don't plan for your staff because you have them already within your system. So that cannot be part of unforeseeables. We need to plan better. That's my general clarion call, because I'm seeing it now. When you begin to move these pieces now and shift the figures, I am worried that along the way we might have a similar problem. I hope we shall not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Lob, when we pass the BFP, there are some items that committees recommend to move from unfunded to funded. That increases on the value, and that's why you find that we have the second budget called circular. So, but anyway, you can hear from the that is that. I used to be in that committee. Honorable, my former chairman, yes. Shadow.
I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulate the Honorable Musasizi for meeting the minimum legal requirement of presenting this document. I have two concerns. The first concern, all these documents bear the signature of Honorable Matia Kasaija, who was a minister in 1980. That's the first time you got appointed. And I think he will be 83 years this year. Is it because of age that he must load this responsibility to Honorable Musasizi? Because I sit on the Committee on Finance, we have been meeting the Honorable Musasizi. I sympathize with him. It's as if he took over the responsibility of the Honorable Matia Kasaija. I only read in the papers that he was briefing the NRM caucus. Is he avoiding Parliament deliberate? That's the first concern. That all the documents bear the signature of Honorable Matia Kasaija. But they are carried, trafficked here by Honorable Musasizi all the time.
They are not trafficked here. That is a wrong statement. They are not trafficked here. These statements are brought in by the Minister of Finance, State Minister of Finance and Economic.
The word traffic, I didn't know that is negative. Okay, they are brought here, Madam
Yes.
Speaker.
But
That's the first concern. Which usually all the ministers of 80 and above are no longer here. I don't want to go through their names. Did they take a decision in the cabinet that all the people will no longer come to Parliament, and yet they remain ministers?
Honorable.
The final concern, Madam Speaker. I think when the Attorney General and government are considering constitutional reviews, it will be fair in the future to allow a new government to do the budget. The transition between one government to another because the Honorable Musasi comfortably says this is to implement the NRM manifesto. Certainly there will be a day when the manifesto to be implemented is not NRM. So I think in the future we need to make constitutional arrangement such that the budget for a year starting a term of office is done by those who are in office. Because those of us who are doing the budget are now exiting. But people who will implement the budget are going to be sworn in maybe in a month's time. So I am only asking the Attorney General and government to consider that in the future, because there will be a transition certainly to another government. So you come here and you have Musasi's PDM, what, and you want to change them, and they have passed them in Parliament.
Thank you. Honorable Semujo, maybe Love. The budgeting process is a consultative one. And as when we are consulting, we go back and forth. It is not cast on stone. So that's why you find that figures keep on changing. And then maybe on the other thing of honorable young member of parliament, you know, the other ministers are old, so for him he's a young member of parliament. I want to refer you to Article 117 of the Constitution of Republic of Uganda on the responsibility of a minister, collective responsibility. Yes. He was still responding. He's still responding to what was asked.
Honourable Speaker, I'm not objectionable to alterations, and I mentioned that in my remarks.
You're actually giving advice.
Somebody was disrupting the speaker at that point. I did make that acknowledgement. Alterations can happen. You plan for A, by end of the day, you are not able to meet it, or maybe you have acquired some more money, so you want to do it better. That can happen. But I'm saying generally, we shift these financial goalposts a lot. And then I dwelt a great deal on supplementary. So I'm hoping that, Honourable Minister, in that 84.2 trillion shillings worth of budget, there will not be the kind of supplementaries we see here all the time that are not unforeseeable, because the Act talks about unforeseeables. People normally bring supplementary budgets here, including for salaries. That's fiscal indiscipline. Plan for your staff. Let the unforeseeables be a disaster has happened in Bududa, in Kasese, in wherever.
Or even in
Nakawa. Chitezi, that's part of Kampala. Yes, and there's a time we had a fire and so on. Those are unforeseeables and they're understandable. So when you come here and you say floods happened, we want to compensate people, we want to take care of this, that's understandable. But please don't come here for salaries. No, that's not acceptable. What you're telling your staff is you don't consider them serious at all. That's why you don't plan for them.
Thank you.
I hope you have planned for them.
Thank you. Next item. Next item.
Request for parliamentary approval to write off non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited.
Honorable Member, Section 33(1) of the Finance Management Act 2015 permits the Minister of Finance, Planning, Economic Development to write off a loss or a deficiency in public resources subject to the approval of Parliament. I now want to invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table a request for a write-off of the non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay on table the request to write off non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited. I beg to lay right on.
Thank you. The request stands referred to the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration.
Request for reallocation of budget estimates for the financial year 2025-26 and revision of work plans for the National Forestry Authority and the Ministry of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure RAPEX reform.
Honourable members, following the rationalization process, the need has arisen to reallocate funds from NFA, which was a mainstream, into the Ministry of Water and Environment, and pursuant to Section 19 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, I will invite the Minister to table the request of reallocation. Honourable members, you remember NFA was rationalized with the Minister of Water and Environment.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, considering the urgency of this matter, with your guidance, I can move by way of motion.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize reallocation of budget estimates for financial year 2025-2026 and revision of work plans for the National Forestry Authority and the Ministry of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditures RAPEX reform. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Seconded. Seconded by Honourable Bua, Honourable Bahati, Honourable Amos, Honourable Charity, Paul, Nekesa, Dog Professor, Honourable Kisa, Abeja, Honourable Emmanuel, Honourable Eric, by the whole side. Thank you. Would you want to justify?
Right Honourable Speaker, in accordance with Section 19 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 56 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament, no, it is 19. I want to refer you to Cap 171. Section 19. Section 19. Section 19 deals with reallocation of funds from a vote. It is under this section that I am moving. Madam Speaker.
If you don't have the act, I can give you.
Madam Speaker, in line with the Cabinet decision, under minute extracts 43 CT 2021 on RAPEX, on 1st August 2025, His Excellency the President assented to the National Forestry and Tree Planting Bill 2025 following approval by A, to mainstream the National Forestry Authority into Ministry of Water and Environment. Right Honourable Speaker, to ensure uninterrupted service delivery, there is a need to transfer or reallocate the respective budgets of the National Forestry Authority to enable the Ministry of Water and Environment to take on the rationalized functions for the remaining 3 quarters of this financial year. Madam Speaker, the approved budget for National Forestry Authority is Uganda shillings 47.467 billion as at the end of quarter 1, an amount of Uganda shillings 11.317 billion had been released, leaving a balance of 36.15 billion. In quarter 2 of this financial year, Uganda shillings 12.757 billion was released, resulting in an actual balance of Uganda shillings 23.393 billion. Right Honorable Speaker, you will note that there is no savings on wage from the above rationalized institution in financial year 2025-2026 because most of the staff to be mainstreamed are scientists who are earning less than the approved science salary structure. Right Honorable Speaker, the anticipated saving of Uganda shillings 1.391 billion arising from boards, committees, and council allowances, social security contributions, employee gratuity, and medical expenses and rent etc. Right Honorable Speaker, taking into consideration the above savings transferred from vote 157 Uganda Forestry Authority to vote 019 Ministry of Water and Environment, the receiving entity, to guarantee seamless service delivery and a smooth transition as I detailed in the submissions I made to you. The terminal benefits of Uganda shillings 2.246 billion for the affected staff have been provided for under the budget for Ministry of Water and Environment for financial year 2026-2027. Madam Speaker, this is a very urgent issue and it has the timing effect if not considered. I therefore would wish to appeal to colleagues to consider this motion and pass it to enable the necessary steps to settle the employees and also mainstream the functions move forward. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. This is a straightforward transfer arising out of rationalization. Jonah?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the contrary, it's not straightforward because when the sectoral committee sits to process the ministerial policy statement and the budget, there are a set of accompanying documents that are examined and the minister is required to clarify on them. If we proceed by the approach the minister is taking, I wonder at what point we are going to examine him and ask questions as if we are seated in the committee, unless the House is going to constitute itself into a committee of the whole House, and then these documents can then be availed to each one of us who are seated here to look at the work plan, which is being reallocated, to look at the staff list, the staffs that are going to be affected, to look at the procurement plan, and all that. And these documents have not been availed to us. So I implore that the agency cannot take away the right of the committee responsible for the sector to examine at the shortest notice, at the shortest possible period. It can be done.
Yes, Honorable Katesh.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm in support of the motion presented by the Minister, and I want to just say that this should have come long time, because the question is, did the functions move? The answer is yes. Now, the motion should have come earlier, and therefore I do not see if the function moved under the section of the PFMA we are talking about. The money should have gone to the entity where the functions have moved, and that should have been done earlier. So we need to clean it up so that we do not enter into a financial year, into another budgeting process with this backlog. I beg to submit.
During the rationalization, were the documents provided? Yes, Honorable Iki.
Madam Speaker, I would like to move a motion, but before I do that, I would like to seek the guidance from you, through you from the Attorney General. Madam Speaker, when we did RAPEX, we repealed most of the acts. And if we repeal the NFA Act, that created that vote? Do we still have that vote in place? Don't you think automatically when we repealed and merged, the vote automatically moved to the ministry? So it was automatically mainstreamed. Madam Speaker, I'm seeking for that guidance before I move the motion.
Does the vote move or the money moves?
No, Madam Speaker, the guidance is if the institution, the act was repealed, so it ceases to exist and everything was merged. But I would benefit from the guidance. Then I move a motion that we proceed.
The vote is like a number plate of a car.
Yes.
So the car can get burned and you remain with the number plate. The car is not there. So NFA was there and this number plate was this vote. So we removed the vote. But the money was in Parliament's control through appropriation. So the money is there. The housing is there. So now Parliament must move it from one point to another. So the vote does not necessarily close. The only person who can close and move a vote is Parliament by a specific resolution of Parliament.
So what the minister is asking for is to move the money, not the vote. Yes, motion.
Madam Speaker, based on that wise guidance from the Attorney General through you, I beg to move the motion, therefore, that the question be put. Because this is a very simple matter.
Seconded by Honorable Mpindi, Honorable Aisha, Honorable Stephen, Honorable Mara, Honorable Isaac and Noah, by the whole side and this side. I put a question that this House approves the minister's request to reallocate budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026 and revision of work plans for the National Forest Authority and the Minister of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure, RAPEX reform. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, by the resolution, the minister is authorized to effect the transfer of the money to vote to 019. Next. Next.
I'm going to the report of the biennial.
Next.
The biannual performance reports of the Inspectorate of Government.
Honourable members, Article 231(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, requires the IGG to submit to Parliament at least once in every 6 months a report on the performance of its function, making such recommendations such as consideration of necessary actions to be approved by Parliament. I now want to invite the Commissioner Emeritus to lay the report on table for the 53rd and 54th.
Right Honourable Speaker, in conformity with our rules of procedure, I beg to lay on table the biannual performance report of the Inspectorate of Government covering period July to December 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
In the same vein, Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on table the biannual performance report of the Inspectorate of Government covering period January to June 2025. I beg to lay.
Ms. Lay, thank you. The reports are referred to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for consideration. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to thank you and thank Parliament as regards the matter of the IGG. But something I would like to draw to your attention, Right Honourable Speaker. There are very many government entities outside there that are renting premises, Right Honourable Speaker, costing the taxpayer a lot of money. I would like to commend this Parliament for having come out to say that government entities should have their own homes, and funded the IGG, the construction of the IGG building. However, last time when we were in legal and parliamentary and they came, they clearly made a point that whereas we had budgeted, and this comes back to the Honourable Musasi's, whereas we had budgeted for the construction of the building, the premises, we did not budget for the furnishing of the building. And I remember you noted that and said, how could it be possible that you budget for the construction of the building and not the furniture itself? So you find that government premises complete buildings without having furniture. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to say and to call upon your indulgence in this matter, that we have a holistic approach in budgeting so that we are not rubber stamped all the time. Because you raised it the other time and said you cannot come here with piecemeal budgets where you have one of construction of premises without a budget, leading to delays.
Thank you. Budgeting is a function of executive. So executive should come with a budget and to the House. Yes, Pato.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, when the Honourable Musas was laying the tax bills, I was raising up, but thank you for the opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, my concern is one. When we lay these tax proposals here, what happens? The public picks this information and the tax collectors immediately adjust the taxes and they start charging before 1st of July. And I just want to request that the Honourable Musasizi makes a public...
There is an order.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, if I did hear Honourable Patrick Oshabe well, I think he referred to the tax collector, which in this case is Uganda Revenue Authority, that immediately the tax bills are laid, they adjust the taxes. I think Honourable Shabe could be mistaking a tax collector for a taxpayer. It's true that some of our businessmen and women are not prudent enough, that a slight shift in economic policies or even environment. I'll give you a case like the war in Iran now. The oil prices have gone up, but before some of our oil traders, if I may call them,
you're deviating from what Honourable Shabe is saying.
Yes, so is it in order to say that immediately tax bills are laid here, the tax collector adjusts the taxes and start billing the taxpayer? Instead, it is the other way around. The taxpayer is the one who increases the prices, not the tax collector. Is the Honourable Shabe in order? Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker. to so infer that URA is not doing its work?
I am not, I don't want to debate this in anticipation. We're only speculating because I have not seen it. I have not seen it. And Honorable Shabe.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I wish my colleague listened. I knew the word URA, and I know that many people collect taxes on behalf of URA. And I chose my words correctly. Next time, I think my colleague would do listening, and probably it would argue better. But Right Honorable Speaker, what I wanted is for the Honorable Musasizi to issue a statement that protects our people in the public. Whenever it goes on here, the taxes of this have been increased. Those people, they just increase, and these taxes are applicable only when it happens, when we pass them, and when the new financial year begins in 1st of July. Now you can imagine we are in March, and some people go on collecting those taxes which can never even be reflected within our financial statements. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Ignorance of the law is no defense. Thank you. Next item.
Item 4 on the order paper, Bill second reading, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025.
Honorable members, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Service Bill 2025 is a government bill that was reintroduced for the first reading on 29th July 2025. Earlier in February 2025, the bill had been withdrawn to enable broadening of its scope. And pursuant to Rule 136(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I will invite the Minister of Internal Affairs to move a motion to the effect for the second reading. But in the meantime, I can introduce my visitors in the VIP gallery. This afternoon we have a Member of Parliament elect for Bukedea District, Honorable Okwere David Bicham. Join me in welcoming my MP. Bukedea County. You're most welcome, Honorable Bicham. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, in accordance with Rule 136 of the Rules of Procedure of this Parliament, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 be read for the second time. I beg to move.
Seconded by Wilson, by Baka, by Musasi, Aisha, Bohejo, by Honorable Kania, Achora, Emmanuel, Eric, Noya, Ezama, Gomba, Moses, Tom, Kabong, and Chua. And then Honorable Nekesa. Would you love to speak to your motion?
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, justification for this motion is that the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill establishes a comprehensive framework to regulate forensic and scientific analytical services in the country. Additionally, the bill provides for the designation of the Department of Inspection and Legal Services at the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the regulator of forensics and scientific analytical services. It also outlines procedures for the collection, handling, and use of samples for investigative purposes, and also designates the Government Analytical Laboratory as the National Poison Information and Control Center.
Thank you so much. And pursuant to Rule 136(2) of the Rules of Procedure, I will now invite the Chairman of Defense and Internal Affairs to present a report on the committee. Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, first, may I lay on table the original signed report and the record of proceedings, meetings, and engagements with stakeholders as the committee processed the bill. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I now proceed to present the report, Right Honorable Speaker. Introduction, and I will be brief. On Tuesday, 29th July 2025, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 was read for the first time and referred to the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs for scrutiny and reporting under Rule 135 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Committee has since considered the bill in consultation with various stakeholders and now presents its report. The report provides an overview and analysis of the bill, including its objectives, its provisions, implications, and committee recommendations. Objectives of the bill. The object of the bill is to, 1, provide for regulation of forensic and scientific analytical services. 2, establish the Government Analytical Laboratory. 3, designate the Government Analytical Laboratory as the National Center for Forensic and Analytical Services. 4, designate the Department of Inspection and Legal Services in the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the regulator of forensic and scientific analytical services. 5, provide for the collection, taking and use of bodily samples for investigative purposes. 6, designate the Government Analytical Laboratory as the National Poison Information Center. 7, provide for related matters. Defects in the existing law. Right Honorable Speaker, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 seeks to establish a legal framework for regulating forensic and scientific analytical services in Uganda. Currently, there is no comprehensive legislation governing the sector, nor is there a National Poison Information Center responsible for handling and disseminating information on poisoning incidents. Although Government Analytical Laboratory has been the primary provider for forensic and scientific analytical services, it has not been formally designated as the national referral institution for such services. The absence of a dedicated regulatory framework has limited effective oversight, standard setting, quality control, and the systematic development of forensic and scientific analytical services in the country. The bill, therefore, seeks to address these gaps by establishing a structured regulatory regime. The methodology, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, we had meetings and the committee met with and received written memoranda from the following stakeholders: Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Health, Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Sylvester Onzivoa. This is a retired pathologist revered in this country. Mr. Rogers Mwesigwa, Director, Nikau Engineering and General Services. The committee also received written submissions from the Attorney General, Uganda Law Society, Uganda Medical Association. We also did document review, and in conducting its analysis, the committee referred to the following documents: the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, the Evidence Act, Cap 8, the Police Act, Cap 3 to 4, Public Health Act 310, the Inquest Act, Cap 13, Medical and Dental Practitioners Act, Cap 300, the Allied Health Professionals Act, Cap 145, and the National Environment Act, Cap 181. We made some salient observations, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues. The committee reviewed the bill with particular focus on the clarity of its scope, the consistency of its definitions, and the strength of its regulatory framework. In addition, the committee examined legal basis for licensing and analytical laboratories and assessed whether enforcement mechanisms, including inspections and licensing revocation, provide adequate safeguards against arbitrary action. The committee also analyzed the procedures governing the forensic and scientific analysis and analytical reports and considered the need for transitional provisions to validate prior forensic work conducted before the commencement of this act. The committee's observations are presented under the following thematic areas. 1. The need for clear definitions and interpretation. The bill seeks to regulate forensic and scientific analytical services by designating the Government Analytical Laboratory as the national referral for forensic and scientific analytical services and the Department of Inspection and Legal Services as the regulatory authority under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. However, the committee observed that certain key terms, including forensic practitioner, forensic analysis, and forensic science, were not clearly defined in the bill. The absence or the limited precise definitions could create ambiguity, confusion, and potential overlap with the medical legal functions already regulated under existing laws, particularly in relation to evidence, the evidence under the Evidence Act, Cap 8, and postmortems under the Inquest Act, Cap 13. The committee notes that several statutes already govern aspects of medical legal practice within the health and the justice sectors.
Yes, local government.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, given the time and given that we've been with this report for some time, I want it to be procedure right. It highlights us briefly the observations and then their recommendations. Then we move to committee stage.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I will do as guided. So we can look at this. We looked at the scope and application of the Act. We looked at administration and institutional arrangements of the bill. We particularly clauses 2 to 10, Part 2, Department of Girl and Inspection. We looked at the institutional framework of the bill. We looked at forensic and scientific analysis, management of the forensic and scientific database, which is Part 4, clauses 2 to 24 of the bill. We considered submissions from the Uganda Law Society to that effect. We also considered the guidance from the Learned Attorney General, that effect. We looked at the revocation and suspension of licenses. Under that, we defined, we went properly to see unfit and improper person as considered in the bill. We looked at the laboratory and analytical reports. In that, we're looking at a certificate of analysis, a lack of which, or whether it is covered under other legislations. We looked at the National Poison Information Center, which is Part 6, Part 5, Clause 30 particular of the bill. And as I say, we looked at what World Health Organization defines a poison to be. Were guided by the learned Attorney General as far as NPI, or National Poison Information Center, is supposed to be. We looked at the saving provisions of the bill. And our conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, was that the committee notes that the Forensic Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 seeks to create a regulatory framework for forensic and scientific analytical services in Uganda. While the bill strengthens forensic and scientific analytical services, certain provisions require clarification for consistency and alignment with the current laws. In light of the foregoing observations, the committee recommends that the bill be considered for the second reading, subject to the proposed amendments attached hereto and any other modifications this House may propose and approve. I beg to report.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman. Honourable members, I put a question that the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 be read the second time. Those in favour say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025, Bills Committee stage. New clause.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair and Honourable colleagues, proposed amendments to the Forensic and the Scientific and Analytical Services Bill. Insertion of a clause. We insert a new clause immediately before clause 1 as follows. 1. Application of Act. This Act shall apply to analytical laboratories registered under this Act. 2. This Act shall not apply to analytical laboratories registered or regulated under any other law. The justification for this, Right Honourable Chair and Honourable colleagues, is that we do this provide for general application of the Act and exclude analytical laboratories already registered or regulated under any other law. I beg to submit.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we are creating this law to provide a general law that is applicable, and I thought this we are creating a superior law. So the other laws, Mr. Chairman, would subjected to this one.
AG.
Not quite right, Honourable Chair. Actually, this provision that the committee is proposing to bring into the application clause in clause 1 already exists in clause 12. In clause 12 of the bill. So what the committee is doing is moving clause 12 and moving it to the beginning of the bill. But why it is important is that some labs do actually do scientific and like clinics. They may be what they do, the work they do on us could also fall into that space. But that one is managed by the medical. When they're doing medical, they are licensed. All the labs would be licensed. So what this provision is saying, whatever lab or analytical lab that you will have in the country, forensic, analytical, of any nature, must be licensed. So if it is not licensed or provided for under any other law, then it brings it to this law. We are very careful not to disrupt the entire system, especially the medical area.
because of the definitions kind of spread into the medical space. So that was the intention. So what the committee has done is just moved clause 12 and brought it to clause 1 for clarity and emphasis.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
I agree with that relocation of that clause by the committee.
I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Clause 1 its interpretation.
Right Honorable Chair, interpretation. Clause 1 is amended.
Chair, we can stand over it.
Okay.
And then we come back to it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair, clause 5, functions of department. Clause 5 is amended by substituting for paragraph B the following. B, monitor compliance with the code of practice for forensic practitioners. B, in paragraph E, by inserting the words and scientific immediately after the word forensic. What's the justification for this? To provide for monitoring of the code of practice for forensic practitioners as opposed to monitoring of forensic ethical and private matters which cannot be ascertained. Second, justification, the insertion of the word unscientific is provided for consistency in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Speaker.
AG.
We have no objection to the proposed amendment.
I put a question that clause 5 be amended as proposed. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5 as amended.
I put a question that clause 5 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I put a question that clause 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chairperson, Clause 11, Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services. Clause 11 is amended by inserting a new clause immediately after subclause 2 as follows. An analytical laboratory shall, in the performance of the services under subsection 1, act independently and shall not be subject to the direction and control of any other person, including the department. What's the justification for this? To grant an analytical laboratory the independence to carry out their functions without interference of any other person. I submit.
Eki.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, we always have this misinterpretation of the independence. The independence should not mean non-accountability. That clarity needs to be made. And the independence is as regards scientific work, not administrative, not financial. This clarity, Madam Chair, needs to be made very clear because some of these institutions want to hide under the clause of independence. Thank you.
AG.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Right Honourable Chair. I think the committee did take that into consideration and limited this independence to the functions that are set out in 11.1. So the rest of the bill, they said the independence of the analytical lab is in respect to the items that are set out in 11.1. I think it's a good addition to the bill.
Thank you. Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Speaker.
I put a question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11 as amended.
I put a question that clause 11 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, clause 12 deals with registration of analytical laboratories. Clause 12 is amended in subclause 1A by inserting the word analytical immediately before the word laboratory. B, by deleting subclause 6, and C, by substituting subclause 7 the following. Subject to section 1, a person shall not provide forensic services without a license issued under this act. And we justify this as below. The insertion of the word analytical is to provide consistency with the term laboratory. Second, the deletion of subclause 6 is consequential, arising from the proposed application in clause 1. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur for consistency.
AG.
I have no objection to that amendment.
I put a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12 as amended.
I put a question that clause 12 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I put a question that clause 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say on the contrary, nay. You can't even say aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
Clause 19.
Right Honourable Chair, clause 19 is about revocation or suspension of license. Clause 19 is amended. A, in subclause 2 by deleting paragraph F. B, by deleting subclause 3. What's the justification for this? Is the deletion of paragraph F is to avoid abuse that would arise in the determination of an unfit and improper person to hold a license, since there is no set criteria. To provide an independent provision for cancellation of certificate of registration. Now, insertion of new clause. Insert a new clause immediately after clause 19 as follows. Cancellation of certificate of registration. The department shall, A, before cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, give the owner of the analytical laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled.
Have we passed 19 before you get to the insertion of new clause?
It will be one clause.
They are not.
Okay.
Those are two different clauses. The new clause comes after 19.
Okay.
Yes.
I stand with your guidance.
Yes. Minister.
I want to differ with the committee's proposal respectfully because the proposal as is necessary to enable the licensing authority to act where the licensee becomes unsuitable and is in breach of the license. But also, Right Honourable Speaker and members, the vocabulary of fit and proper person is best practices phrase, and if you remove it, you would water down the regulatory powers of the regulator.
AG.
Thank you, Right Honourable Chair. Right Honourable Chair, I agree with the Honourable Minister, because fit and proper test has now been used and it's now totally established thing. Fit is physically, mentally you're fit. Proper, you have good character, you do not have any serious issues, crime, history. So when they say you're going to incur the fit and you're going to use the fit and proper test, it is not out of the ordinary. But if you say that a person who has become unfit and improper to hold a license should be allowed to continue analyzing laboratory works, I think that I pray that that amendment, clause 19(2)(f), be rejected by the House, and the clause 19(2)(f) do stand part of the bill. We submit.
So is the whole clause standing part of the bill, as it is in the bill?
Right Honourable Chair, the committee did make two proposals in respect to clause 19. One is to delete clause 19(2)(f), which related fit and proper test. That is what we've been submitting on and requesting that the House does keep that as part of the bill. However, the committee did propose that clause 19(3) be deleted from this provision and be given a standalone provision. So we do accept that clause 19(3) be deleted from the bill, but 19(2)(b) do stand part of the bill. I beg submit.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the Minister and further amended by the AG. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19 as amended.
I put a question that clause 19 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right Honourable Chair, now we insert a new clause. And certainly this is a consequential amendment. Insert a new clause immediately after clause 19 as follows: cancellation of certificate of registration. The department shall, A, before cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, give an owner of the analytical laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled. B, after cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, the government shall publish the cancellation in the Gazette. Justification for this, Right Honourable Chair and Honourable colleagues, this is a consequential amendment. I beg to submit. And the numbering can be rectified later.
Minister.
I agree, Right Honourable Speaker. It's in the spirit of due process.
AG.
No objection to the proposal by the committee.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I was just wondering
Madam Chair, excuse me.
Isaac.
Thank you, please. I was just wondering whether a time frame is necessary in this case for the person whose license is going to be terminated to show, to prove, because by the time that you are being suspected that they want to take away your certificate, then we should not leave you a lot of time continuing operating. So I was thinking.
Okay. Yes, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. There is an inquiry I want to make. There are two entities of which we are talking about the license. A license can be of the laboratory. I think that the consequential inclusion that you are bringing in. But the previous article was referring to an individual, license to the individual. How do we separate these within this law? Because you can either license, you can revoke a license from an individual, a practitioner within the laboratory, or to revoke a license of the laboratory itself. So I can see two licenses here. And they don't seem to be separated within 19 and the subsequent inclusion. Madam Chair.
Well, honorable colleague, we are talking about cancellation of a certificate of registration for an analytical laboratory. Yes, a laboratory.
I want to refer you to clause 19, 3A. I want to refer you to clause 19, 3A, which says, before cancellation of the certificate of registration of the laboratory under this section, give the owner of the laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled. So
yes, Madam
this
Chair.
is a process.
I think what the honourable member is referring to is why do we say, and I think he's going back to a clause which we have closed, but I can just explain it, where you say a person is not fit and proper. When we define person, it can be legal, it can be a legal person or a natural person. So whenever we find a clause, instead of saying whether a person or a company or an entity, so we use a person, which gives us
Honorable Attorney General, just tell him in law, a person.
Yeah. So we are saying
not in medics.
When we define a person, we are trying to give the law the breadth to find a natural person and an unnatural person, an incorporated person in whatever form, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a limited liability company, limited by a guarantee, we use a person. So when we say a person has been found unfit and improper, then we can look at the person who is running the entity, or we can look at the entity itself. So all those can be covered in that. So it's just giving it wide interpretation.
Thank you. The timing.
Right, Honorable Chair and colleagues. The timelines for these labs, we propose that we address in the regulation, because they're different labs and they have different effects. For example, if the problem is with the central lab, the way we address that problem is different from when we address the supporting labs. Because if you have a problem with the lower lab, you can take your material to the main lab for what? For confirmation. So we'll propose that the timelines be, and even the conditions and how they will show cause should be done in the regulations.
Madam Chair, the clarity to a layperson in Katikam South would be on whether this license is on an individual or the laboratory itself. Because when we talk about someone being capable and the laboratory not meeting the requirements, those are totally different things. So maybe the AG can clarify on whether this license is on the individual running the laboratory or the laboratory itself.
I think it may seem like it's confusing, but it is not. The laboratory is definitely going to be run by people. So when we give the license and say this analytical lab has been licensed, indeed that lab is not going to walk to the ministry to get the license. Someone is responsible. There is a natural person behind that lab. So when we do this, we do not want the natural person to get out or the unnatural person to get out. So, but I mean, if it is for clarity purposes, we can say a person or including, we can include. We were very clear in our drafting, but for purposes, like he said, for the layman to follow, we will clarify that.
Thank you. Aisha?
Thank you, Chair. I'm in support of Honorable Nathan about the inclusion of time, because the
Isaac.
The time is to revocation of a license. It's not about the procedures in laboratories, but a person that needs to show cause why his license should not be revocated. I think it's proper for us to put their time, because some person can give somebody 2 days, 3 days. The law should be clear about that. Maybe within 2 months, a person should show cause why his laboratory license should not be cancelled. I think it's right.
The challenge with that, Right Honourable Chair and colleagues, is that if, for example, a lab has gone into the business of selling wrong reports in respect to, say, DNA, for argument's sake, whereas there could be someone who is giving reports which are wrong for people who are dying. So if you say that I will give these people the same amount of time, will be a problem. So the regulations will be able, there are so many different, if you look at clause 11, it shows you the number of the kind of tests. There are those labs which will be doing toxicology. There are those that will be doing biology. There are those that will be dealing with illicit trade. And all of them have different nature of parameters. So we're thinking that you allow the technical people to know how they will be regulating, because when you're getting a license, they give you a license to do certain things. And the scrutiny, the higher the expectation from you, the greater the scrutiny. So it may be best placed under regulation. But I agree that the time within which to show cause and address this must be set.
Right Honourable Chair, there is agreement
Chair.
that times should...
Chair, just a small one. And the chair is allowed. Thank you. AG, I really needed a clarification on the issue person or the entity. There is a scientist who is a person. He has been licensed. And that scientist is given a job in particular lab A. And it is this scientist that has made up a mess, and the particular lab A chooses to chase this scientist away. Now, you are coding a punishment, a laboratory and a person. And we're not providing for the two. I think the scientist and the entity should be separated in this law.
Honourable Chair.
Yes, AJ.
I think if you look at clause 19, it gives you the reasons why a license can be revoked. And what you're discussing is if a person has been found unfit and improper. If the regulations require you to have a lab expert, an expert in toxicology, and that expert in toxicology has been found to be a person who is not fit and proper, why would the lab continue to have a license to do toxicology when it does not have an expert in toxicology? No, if you get the other expert, then you meet the requirement. If while you do not, you see, it is like saying, let us keep the clinic open because the doctor has run mad and can no longer treat the patients. Let's keep the clinic open until we get another doctor. No. You first close the clinic, get a doctor, then license the clinic to operate. Because the clinic doesn't operate without a doctor.
Honourable members, I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favour stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favour stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
The chair.
Right Honourable Chair, clause 21 is request for analysis. Clause 21 is amended in subclause 3 by inserting the word or substance immediately after the word chemical. The justification is to achieve consistency and clarity on the request of an analysis on a chemical or substance. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Speaker.
AG.
I concur, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 21 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21 as amended.
I put a question that clause 21 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I put a question that clause 22 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, Clause 23 deals with certificate of analysis. Clause 23 is amended A by substituting for the head note the following: laboratory analytical report. B, subclause 1. In subclause 1, by substituting for word certificate of analysis or report, the words laboratory analytical report, and wherever the words appear in the clause. The justification is the substitution of the certificate of analysis is to provide for laboratory analytical report, which is more elaborate and includes a certificate of analysis. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I agree, Right Honourable Chair.
AG.
We agree and we thank the committee for it.
I put a question that clause 23 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23 as amended.
I put a question that clause 23 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I put a question that clause 24 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I put a question that clause 25 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I put a question that clause 26 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 27.
I put a question that clause 27 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
I put a question that clause 28 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
I put a question that clause 29 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
I put a question that clause 30 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31.
I put a question that clause 31 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, Clause 32 deals with record keeping. Clause 32 is amended by inserting the word analytical immediately after the word registered. And justification is for consistency with the term analytical laboratory as is used in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Chair.
AG.
No objection, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 32 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32 as amended.
I put a question that clause 32 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
Chair.
Clause 33 is about reporting. Clause 33 is amended in subclause 1 by inserting the word analytical immediately after the word registered. Justification is for consistency still with the term analytical laboratory as used in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I agree with the committee.
AG.
No objection, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 33 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33 as amended.
I put a question that clause 33 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 34.
I put a question that clause 34 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 35.
I put a question that clause 35 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 36.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, Clause 36 is about offences and penalties. Clause 36 is amended. A. In subclause 3 by substituting the words analytical report, the words laboratory analytical report. B. By inserting a new paragraph as follows. A person who uses a DNA profile or accesses a DNA profile and information without authorization of the government analytical laboratory. C. By deleting the subclause 7. The justification for this, the substitution of the term analytical report is to provide for a broader document of analysis, since the laboratory analytical report includes a certificate of analysis. Another justification, the insertion of the new paragraph is to provide clarity on subclause 7. Other, the deletion of subclause 7 is a consequential amendment. I beg to submit.
Yes, Patrick.
Chair, I have a problem here. In this insertion, the chairperson wants to make the government analytical laboratory the regulator. Because the new insertion is saying that a person who uses DNA profile or access a DNA profile and if without the authorization of the government analytical laboratory. Yet in the object of the bill, the government analytical laboratory is established as one of the service providers. And there is a regulator who is the Department of Inspection and Legal Services at the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the provided regulatory body. So when we make one of the laboratories, the government laboratory, the regulator, it will be conflict of interest.
I want to refer you to the object of the bill. Check the object of the bill. It says to designate the government analytical laboratory as the national referral for forensic and analytical services.
It's a referral.
It's a referral.
Madam Speaker, the referral is for higher consultation, not for regulation.
Chair, I want to support the chair of the committee because this is about accessing, not so. It's about accessing information of the laboratory analytical, not regulation. And I don't know how you can access without the permission of the people in the laboratory. I don't see. I do not seem to understand the clause the chairman brings to mean regulation. I don't understand it that way unless otherwise.
Madam Chair, the word is authorization. And when the word authorization comes, Madam Chair, it implies other laboratories or an individual must first seek permission from
authorities. Authorization is having authority. It is a referral, national referral. It's having authority.
To understand the member, you're saying how should people access the profile? We should just allow people to access people's DNA? Because the purpose, I thought, and we understood the committee to say that there is certain material that if it is not yours, you should not access it without government permission. So, what we are saying, would you rather that the person who authorizes is the department?
The regulator. Who is the regulator under this system?
Well, what I think for us the principle here is a person who uses a DNA profile, and this was a recommendation from the committee, but when we received it, we actually welcomed it. Because it was saying a person who uses a DNA profile or accesses a DNA profile or information without the authorization commits an offense. So we are saying authorization by who? In the wisdom of the committee was that if you want to access my DNA, go to the government analytical laboratory and get authorization.
Patrick, I hope you're not thinking like somebody in my village, thinking of that laboratory in my village school.
Madam Chair, we have provided private services under these circumstances. We have provided private laboratories, and somebody in a private care can have a DNA profile which is not in the government analytical laboratory. So we need a regulator, and the regulator is the one who should be doing the authorization.
Honorable Feta.
Right, Honorable Chair. Forensic services have one key challenge, and that challenge is the credibility of the results. So I wanted to know, Mr. Attorney General, how are we going to address the issue of the credibility of the results? Does the government analytical services conclusively address the issue of credibility of services?
You've gone to policies, Honorable Member. Let's look at the law. You get it, eh?
Right, Honorable Chair. I think what Honorable Shaba is saying is exactly what I thought the committee was trying to accrue. To say that we are going to license people everywhere to do these things. We are telling these people that you who is being licensed, do not release Honorable Shaba's DNA material to anyone. Other than him, without authorization. And we are saying that if you want, the question that we are discussing is who authorizes. So we are, and that's what we are, that's what the committee proposed, that should be the government analytical lab. You are proposing that it should be the department.
Yes.
I think even the department should not be authorized. I should authorize. Or, if at all I'm absent and you wanted to access results of DNA or whatever it is, should be a court.
I think here, this the issue that the committee was trying to address, and I think the committee will speak to it, a person who uses this profile without authorization is what they are refusing. So, no, but you see, the thing is that, for example, if you enter the DNA profile as a criminal, for example, they're investigating it and they get your DNA and they find you a murderer, that data becomes government data.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you know, my worry with having people we are in competition with, when you say that we are competing, I'll use an example of a hospital. It is this laboratory that is supposed to ask to give authority. from court, not that laboratory. Hey,
Eddie.
Must go to court to go and get data of someone who is
He's
is
authorized.
must be authorized to
Yes.
get this. So we can do it by the
Yes.
directorate and say, for example, our national ID DNA now, our fingerprints and things. Should authorize, so government will become liable should they find the person's material in the wrong hands.
Six as amended.
I put a question that clause 36 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. The ayes have it.
New clause.
Clause 1. A new clause.
As follows: saving provision. Any examination, analysis, reports prior to the commencement of this act shall remain valid and been undertaken or issued under this act. Justification for this is to ensure
I agree with this saving provision, Chair, so that we
Thank you.
Thank you. I put a question at clause.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 1, interpretation. Clause 1 is amended and scientific analysis. B, by substituting for the word forensic scientific expertise to examine and analyze evidence in legal proceedings. Scientific methods, techniques, and principles to the collection, preservation, investigation, right, Honorable Chair and Honorable colleagues, is that the substitution of the word forensic analyst with the word forensic practitioner is provide for a broader term broaden the scope of the definition. And in this, we have looked at medical and
no objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say the ayes have it.
Schedule.
I put a question that the first I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Of the whole House reports there are true. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have. Please have a seat.
Report of
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to I beg to move. Sorry, Honorable. Been be passed.
And put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this August House. Those in favor. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Forensic and Scientific
Cross Services Bill 2025 be read the third time and do pass the
2026.
Title settled and the bill passed. You want to speak? Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I take it. And the members of the Defense and Internal Affairs Committee. Criminal justice system as it touches the body of evidence as a I thank you so much.
want to also thank you for your on our justice system. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Including Leader of Opposition on this side. Thank you for passing the bill. Honorable members, for from 1 vote 157, the National Forestry Authority. That has been reallocated from the NFA to National. The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 24 of Parliament. I will invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, for financial year 2025 20
Honorable Kania, Honorable Donazio Sise Namuji. Honorable Oshabe, Honorable Aisha, Honorable Izama.
Speaker, briefly following the approval of the application for the National Forestry Authority totaling to effect this, we are required under Ministry of Water and Environment, and we propose $707,685,000 move 10,294,300,000 the source of financing this supplementary is maybe for emphasis, I can also quote the votes. The vote authority amounting to 22.002 2.002 billion, out of which 11 is development. I submit.
Thank you.
For your consideration, Right Honorable
Thank you, Honorable Member. I put a question that the House resolves itself into a favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Committee of Supply. Supplementary recurrent expenditure. $685,840 and environment for financial year 2025-2026. I put a question that a sum of Uganda shillings 10 approved as a supplementary development expenditure for vote (2026). Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Under shillings 22 billion 2 million (019). Minister of Water and Environment. The ayes have it. Motion for resumption of the House.
Resume, and the Committee of Supply reports there too.
I put a question that say the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Right Honorable Speaker, I year 2025-2026 amounting to 22. Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report
Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. The members of the NRM party. And I've been invited for who is none other than His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And the opposition members to 15th April. Must report on 15th April.